Yes, it is the Street University. Welcome once again to what I believe is going to be a phenomenal session because you've seen what we're talking about today. Impossible is nothing, nothing, nothing. So we're waiting, guys. You know, the good thing is that even though it's a public holiday in Kenya, our brains don't go on break. You know, our brains don't go on break. No, no, no. Thinking never stops. Thinking never ever stops. We must never allow thinking to stop. And that's why we are here. That's why we are here. You know, very exciting because my guest today is somebody that has absolutely inspired me. And that's why I have brought her on board today. You know, because this is somebody who has been an inspiration to me personally. So, you know, and this is a practical application of the things we have been talking about when we talk about the mind and how to take charge of the mind. This is a practical, very, very practical application of what we are talking about. And as always, this recording is going to be live on our website. We have some good news. Everything is going to be on the website where we're actually migrating from our Facebook home to our website home. That's www.thestreetuniversity.com. So I have a lot of things to share with you along those lines. But we're just going to, I just want to make sure that I have you guys on board. I know a lot of people have probably traveled, but like I've always said, thinking never goes on holiday. And the good news is, I know people. I was talking with someone in the US today who says, "Oh, just keep those things there. We always come back to watch them." So that is very, very, very exciting. So welcome, 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 welcome. Who is here? Let me know who's here. We are going to have a great one. Who's here? Register your presence. Today you're going to love it. Impossible is nothing. Impossible is nothing. And you're going to learn, you're going to hear practical, you know, a story of somebody with a possibility mindset. Sarah, I was just talking about you a minute ago, that you were saying you always love the fact that you can go back to watch the things on Facebook. You know, I just mentioned that. You know, absolutely. And the beautiful thing is that we are going to be migrating all these things now to our website, www.thestreetuniversity.com. We have some amazing surprises for you, things that have been going on. Hello, Lillian. How are you? Wonderful. Fantastic. Dorcas, how are you? Yeah, you know, I was discussing with Liz backstage. I said, even though it's a public holiday, there are certain things that don't go on holiday. God never goes on holiday. Number two, the devil never goes on holiday. Number three, our brains must never go on holiday. Thinking must never go on holiday. Never. Our thinking must never go on holiday. Hello, Edna. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Great to have you here again. Yep. So guys, you see what I'm saying? Our brains must never go on holiday. Thinking never goes on holiday. You'll be amazed at the volume of business we've been able to transact today, being a holiday. Yet we're able to transact things, you know, transact business in Nigeria, transact business in Dubai, you know. So don't think that, you know, let me tell you as we prepare, a misconception. Don't think that because you are doing nothing, that everybody else is doing nothing. Don't think like that. Don't think that because you are doing nothing, everybody else is doing nothing. No, 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 no. It's like I was saying, during the pandemic, everybody was chilling. People thought it was a holiday. I said, this thing is not a holiday. But during that period, some of us are creating things. We're creating things that will change the world. Absolutely change the world. So very important. Your thinking never goes on holiday. Never ever goes on holiday. All right. So I want to welcome everybody. We've been talking about the power of the mind, and my goodness, I was talking to Taiwo earlier on. I had been in the office all day, so I went upstairs and I went to talk to Taiwo, and I said, I'm seeing things about the human mind that will totally change the world. So you just stay with me on this journey. We are all on a fantastic journey to a great destination. We are on a fantastic journey. Just stay with me. We're going to attack it from the natural. We're going to attack it from the scriptural and spiritual. So this evening at 9 o'clock, again, God doesn't go on holiday. Devil doesn't go on holiday. And our thinking doesn't go on holiday. Doesn't. And let me tell you, we are creating something here. Oh my God. I am reading some of the visions of some of my students at the Reimagine Yourself. I am Edna. I read your thing. I was dancing. That, my God, people are thinking. You guys are going to call the shots across this continent. I am telling you. Oliver, very, very welcome. Very, very, very welcome. All right. So, are we good to go? Edna. Of course, Edna, you do know that we are going to be having you here. Okay. Just letting you know, this is the notice. So, ladies and gentlemen, the only stumbling block that can stop a person's growth, a person's advancement, it is not the devil. God is not stopping you. Nobody is stopping you. It's your mindset that is stopping you. We will not, as individuals, human beings, never prosper or progress beyond the permission of their mindset. And you're going to hear a story of somebody who everything seemed to be pitched against her. Everything seemed to be pitched against her. But hey, eventually, her story, I think, is a brilliant testimony. All right? A very, very brilliant testimony of what is possible when you do not allow a limiting mindset to stop you. All right? So I want you to grab your pens or whatever you're taking notes with. Make sure you've invited your friends. It's time for us to learn. We learn from the experiences of people who have done certain things that we want to do. The Bible says, follow after those who through faith and patience have been able to inherit the promise. Who through faith and patience have been able to inherit the promise. And so that's why what we are here to do today, to learn certain lessons and to have a robust conversation with my guest today. All right? Now, when we say impossible is nothing, I heard this is something I kept hearing from the mouth of one of my students. Impossible is nothing. So I want to welcome Liz Ekakoro. Liz is she's a civil engineer. She's an author. She is a champion and advocate of the philosophy that impossible is nothing. Liz, I welcome you to the Street University. Oh, sorry, let me unmute you. Okay, Liz, we welcome you to the Street University.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Wale. I'm humbled to be
Huh?
here.
Well, I'm excited to have you on this side. You are normally on the other side. I see you out there, but now you are on this side. And I'm very excited because now people like Edna will be inspired to be will be inspired to be on this side because you guys are doing phenomenal things. All right, tell us, Liz. Impossible is nothing. Where did you get that from?
Thank you, Doctor. Maybe before I start with where I got it from, let me start with how it ended. When you called me to invite you to be your guest this evening, I asked myself, am I really ready? Then the response I got was impossible is nothing. So I accept. Yeah. So I am Elizabeth or Liz Ekakoro, as Dr. Wade has introduced me. I'm a civil engineer, an author, and yeah, also a mentor and advocate for impossible is nothing and the world of possibilities around us. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, and we thank God for that. So I was born across an airstrip at Busia County, and I loved watching planes, aeroplanes, coming once in a while, and mostly they were white men coming. Maybe some missionaries. I can't really tell what they were up to. But whenever I said I'd really desire that, my grandfather would tell me, no, that's for the Mzungu. And I almost believed that the plane was only meant for the white man. But that desire did not stop. I still kept admiring. And whenever we were asked to write compositions in class during primary school English lessons, I wrote about my traveling abroad, Yugoslavia. I just guessed a country and wrote about a visit there creatively. And my compositions were good. My English teacher said, you write like you're really gone there. And inside me, I said, maybe one day I'll get there. And that desire was inside me, although I did not know how. But fast forward 15 years later, I got a scholarship to go to Ukraine. So that alone, that sum up alone tells me impossible is nothing. Whatever you can create in mind, you can achieve, you can make it come true. Hence, impossible is nothing. And I'll share parts of my life that really prove that impossible indeed is nothing. Thank you, Dr. Wale.
As I listen to you, you already began to conceptualize, like we have been saying, you were painting images in your mind about, was there any reason particularly why you were talking about, places in the Eastern Europe, Yugoslavia, and then you end up in Ukraine? What was the fascination with the Eastern Bloc for you?
Actually, the fascination was about seeing, the white man inside the plane. We were not allowed to really move close. Maybe we could stand 50, 100 meters away from that plane. It was not a fenced airstrip, so we could still come closer. And just that desire to know what it felt like to be inside the plane motivated me to dream of that.
Wow. Now, so take us through the journey, your journey, university, the challenges you faced, and now you are one of those few powerful female civil engineers that we have. Take us through the journey. How did you decide on engineering, or what was it that led you to want to do engineering?
So after my high school, I I wanted to do engineering or a mathematical course, but specifically engineering. But there is a program in Kenyan University program called, it was a joint admissions board that you'd select the courses you want and then they place you maybe depending on priority or universities on how applications were made. So when I received my letter to join university, I was called to Kenyatta University to study Bachelor of Home Economics. I was heartbroken. That was actually the last option I put because I knew definitely I wouldn't be called for that, and then I'd exhausted any other choice. I chose engineering, economics, commerce, but now I was called to do home economics. So when I received my letter, I told my guardians, no, this is not what I want. I want to study engineering. And my dad told me, no, you're a brilliant person. You go to the university, study, get a first class honors, you'll get a good job yeah, and all the motivation one can give a daughter. So I was not 100% in for it, but because it was a government sponsorship and I had been admitted, my parents went ahead and met all the requirements and yeah, paid the whole academic year school fees and got me admitted to Kenyatta University. But even while I was there, when I accepted, I knew that there was a possibility of interfaculty transfer. But unfortunately, mine didn't work. I remember people who had lower cluster points than I making it transfer to other faculties of their choice, but mine somehow just didn't work. So I told myself, no, it's not for me. I tried attending classes, but whenever I was in class, I could only shed tears for the first week. So I decided I was not attending class anymore. I'd just stay in the hostel. Then an idea came to my mind. How about if I checked out the qualifications for civil engineering at the University of Nairobi? So I passed by, I took the brochure, I checked, I saw I qualified. So I said I could try. Yeah, I was supposed to pay an unrefundable application fee, but I didn't mind that. I applied and just went back to Kenyatta University. So I spent most of the time in the hostel, and my roommates were like, "What's wrong with this girl? You're not going to classes, you're just in the room." But I knew I couldn't force myself further to study home economics because I didn't want it. I tried moving from office to office. I went to the dean of students. He actually recommended that I qualified for a transfer, wrote some notes, sent me to the VC's office. But when I got there, somehow the secretary couldn't let me in. I tried sneaking in. I was brought out and maybe my letter was thrown or I don't know what happened. I just never received acceptance to transfer my course. But after 2 months, I had joined Kenyatta University in August. So around end of September, I just called my dad and told him, no, I'm not doing this. Yeah, because this is not what I want. I know I can get a first class honors in home economics, but I don't want home economics. So my dad says, so it's up to you. If you want to work and come and stay at home, That's the problem. So I was given a choice to decide whether to stay at Kenyatta University or to quit and stay at home. I decided to stay at home because I thought maybe, yeah, if I can't, I don't like what I'm doing, there was no need for me to force myself just to please my parents. I actually quit. I packed my bags. I had an aunt who was staying somewhere around in town. I went to her house. She was shocked to see me with my luggage, asked what happened. I told her, no, I'm not continuing at school. It's not my thing. I don't want it. So she was shocked. She didn't know how to respond, but being a psychological counselor, she tried to calm me down and tried to talk to my dad. Then, as she went to work, I went to the University of Nairobi to check out whether my application had gone through. And I was surprised. I was given a calling letter like 2 weeks before I even went. So I was called to do engineering at the University of Nairobi. I was excited, but now the challenge was where would I get the fees from? Because at the University of Nairobi, then I had to be a self-sponsored student. Considering my parents had cleared the fee at Kenyatta University and I had left, I didn't know how to start. But I told myself, impossible is nothing. I'll make it. No matter how, I'll pay the school fees. So the University of Nairobi is just next to some Norfolk hotel where I used to see white people living there. And sometimes they would need someone to help them wash. I overheard that they pay their cleaners so well. So I wouldn't mind to go and clean for them. So my plan was I'd go there and ask for work, like do the laundry and all that stuff. And then I had done a diploma in IT while I was awaiting my letter to join the university. So I went and printed some card, like some fundraiser cards. Please support Elizabeth for her University of Nairobi school fees. And then I gave an amount, 100 shillings, 50, 500, 1,000. And then my idea was to just stand by the street and dash out the cards, and any well-wisher will give me something, a due seat for my school fees, and I'll just talk to the administration. I was determined to tell them I'll clear it. I'll keep working and studying. But surprisingly, before I did any of that, before I searched for the job or before I started giving out the cards, although I had printed them, my dad called me and asked, so what do you want? And I told him, actually, I have an admission letter to the University of Nairobi, and they are opening in 2 weeks' time in October. And I've been committed to study civil engineering, and the fees is 150,000. So if I get that, that's what I want. So he said, okay, you go. And I was surprised out of nowhere, the last conversation we had was of me quitting, and it's annoying. I know, I can understand as a parent. You pay school fees for the whole year, then the kid decides to quit, and then now they want you to pay school fees. It can be tough. But my dad told me, okay, you go ahead, and just like that, I was admitted into civil engineering at the University of Nairobi. Before the year ended, an advert came up in the dailies, and um, the the candidate sitting next to me, my classmate, came with a printout, some papers. He was filling them. And I asked him, what are you filling out? Then he said, there was some advert in the paper. They're advertising for scholarships in Ukraine. I want to try, but I know my parents cannot even accept if I get the scholarship. Okay, I asked him, can I do a photocopy? And he said, yeah, why not? I took a photocopy of forms, I filled them and took them to the Ministry of Higher Education offices. A month later, I received a call that are we speaking to Elizabeth? I said, yes, you are invited for an interview for the government scholarship with Ukraine. And I thought it was a con man. Yeah, and then I asked my classmate and friend Miracle, did you receive any call from the Ministry of Higher Education? He said regarding what? I told him regarding the scholarship. And he said, oh, did you take the form? I said yes. He said he filled the form, he never took them. So it was it was a bit almost for me to for me to photocopy and fill and take. So I went, I didn't tell my parents anything. I went to the Ministry of Higher Education at that day. We were more than 100 applicants. We were given days of interview. I went during my day and we were told we'd be given feedback. The feedback really took long. I completed my first year of study at the University of Nairobi. Then, as I joined the second year, I received another call. I was told that we'd been shortlisted to be to be among the recipients of the scholarship. So we are called again to the ministry's office for more interviews and checkups and yeah, some protocols that had to be observed. So from the 100 plus applicants, we were 23 who were called back. And then after the 23 of us went, we remained 10 of us. Then from the 10, the scholarship ended up taking only 5. I happened to be among the 5 who were taken to Ukraine. So that again told me impossible is nothing.
Wow. All right. Guys, I hope you are as inspired as I am with this story. I was taking notes. Keep the dream alive no matter the challenges. It looked like this journey was not going to happen to even go to university in the first place, and the whole home economics thing. And I think that there's an element here, guys, of boldness. But that boldness you must be true to self. She knew that, hey, I don't belong in this place. And I'm thinking it takes a lot of guts to do what she did. And I'm thinking to myself, how many people do we know that they're in a place they know I don't belong? But instead of being true to self, they try to fit in. And then they live the rest of their lives in misery. And let me tell you what happens. They live in the misery. They are upset. They are angry at themselves. And you know what? When the children begin to come, they begin to take it out on children. Then you now force, guess what? You now force the child that you must study civil engineering. Why? Because you are trying to now live your life through your children. So this story is such a deep one. Be true to self. Who is setting the boundaries of your life? Who is setting the boundaries of your life? Because she could have conformed. And that's, the boldness is just remarkable. And then we now go to her story at the Norfolk Hotel. How many people will think of that? I'm going to go there and be a waiter. I will have these sponsorship cards printed out. And let me tell you one thing I found out. Opportunities are everywhere and opportunities have no owners. Opportunities are everywhere and opportunities have no owners. I'll say that again. Opportunities are everywhere. Opportunities have no owners. Opportunities are free for all situations, waiting for who will be bold enough to grab them. Opportunities are not meant to be studied. They are not meant to be uh, looked at. Opportunities are meant to be seized. And the opportunity of a lifetime must be seized in the lifetime of the opportunity. Very, very important. The opportunity of a lifetime must be seized in the lifetime of the opportunity. A lot of people have missed some of the greatest opportunities of their life because instead of seizing the opportunity, they were over analyzing the opportunity. Oh, is somebody hearing me today? You know, so it is so crucial. I'm going to go back to Liz. Oh, and then you see, look at she takes those sponsorship cards and she prints them. Number one, look at the fact that she took a photocopy. She's not the one that saw the thing for the sponsorship for Ukraine. She took a photocopied the form just to go there. Isn't this something? Photocopied the form. All right. And let me tell you something. I've learned this and just listening to her story. Determination eliminates shame. When you are determined enough, even the Bible says that Jesus, for the joy that was set ahead of him, was able to endure the shame of the cross. You know, I have sold books at the side of the road before. I've done funny stuff, but when you know where you are going, then you know that whatever I'm doing at this point is just part of the process to get to where I'm going, you know. So there she was, you know, presenting herself to be a waitress in a hotel, printing out sponsorship cards for people to support her. But hey, Father, and this is the beautiful thing about faith, is that when you step out, you will realize that the water was waiting for you. The water was going to carry your weight anyway. All right. So we're going to go back to Liz. I hope this is really, really inspiring you like it is inspiring me. So Liz, so when you got to the Ukraine, tell us what now happened when you were there. Sorry, let me. All right.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Before we left the country for Ukraine, the five of us, we were told it was a joint scholarship between the Kenyan government and the Ukrainian government. So the Kenyan government was to take care of our stipends and our upkeep, our allowances, and then the Ukrainian government was to take care of the education, take care of our tuition and accommodation at school. So that's what our parents were told. Don't worry. Now our parents started asking questions. So how will it be? And they were told, don't worry. There is a Kenyan embassy in Russia, and that covers up to Ukraine. The children will be well taken care of. So there we went, arrived in Ukraine. We got there when winter was just starting. It was cold. It was not a good experience, but we got used to it. And the first requirement was that we had to learn the language. We were not going to study in English. We were going to study in Ukrainian language. So the first 8 months, we had to learn the language. And after 2 weeks, I said, no, I don't think really it was not as easy as maybe we expected. I almost quit. Then I asked myself, I wanted to study civil engineering. That's why I went to the University of Nairobi. And here I am. I have a scholarship to study civil engineering in Ukraine. How? How do I even quit? So I reminded myself why I was there in Ukraine, and I decided to focus on learning the language. In 8 months, I could communicate well, and even now joined the university to start studying engineering in Ukrainian language. And unfortunately, most of the lecturers knew more Russian than Ukrainian language because it was part of the Soviet Union, and before they split, the language was Russian. So I had also to learn some Russian just to understand what lecturers who couldn't speak Ukrainian well could do. So it was not easy, but impossible is nothing. It was possible, it worked out. We studied in the language and made it through. Now, what happened with the scholarship? Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I just want to comment on something as you fix your camera. You know,
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, I hope you heard that. She got there and she's supposed to learn the Ukrainian language, which was difficult, and she wanted to back out. But you know what? Never forget your why. Never forget why you went in the first place. She remembered why she was there. And those of you, I mean, even Liz is an Reimagine Yourself alumnus, you know, alumni. So very important. That's why at Reimagine Yourself, we ask about your why. Because a day will come, things may not go like you wanted them to go. But when you remember your why, it becomes an anchor for you. All right? So, guess what? At the point when the pressure was tough, now I came to learn civil engineering. Now you are telling me to learn Ukrainian language. I'm out of here. But guess what? She remembered the why and learned the language. Then can you imagine? You finish learning that language, then you discover that, oh, in fact, it's not just Ukraine. Now you have to learn the Russian language. You have to learn the Russian language again. Another opportunity to say, no, this is not what I signed up for. But guess what? Impossible is nothing. She remembered the why and she stayed on. Okay? All right, Liz. So
yeah.
over to you.
2 years we received anything from government. It was, yeah, because our parents made to.
Sorry, I'm trying to just 1 minute. Go on, Liz. We can hear you.
Yeah, so 2 years being in Ukraine, we waited, we didn't receive from government. I can hear everything okay.
You know, you've used a second gadget.
Yes.
Okay, are you okay now?
I still hear. I don't know.
We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so our government never sent us anything, and it was tough because the five of us, our parents knew that we would be getting support from both governments, Ukraine and Kenya. So they did for that because our family scholarship, we were going to take care. Yeah, we embassy got married. Try ministries, no one received, and that living in the eastern
Uh,
of Kenya. So
Liz,
yeah,
Liz,
yeah.
Liz, your voice is it's breaking. Do you want to use the one you were using before, the gadget you were using before? If you can fix that, that would be really good. And guys, as Liz fixes that, something that came to my mind: how many of you have been in a place where you think, all right, I've faced all the challenges I'm going to deal with, and just when you think you've finished with one, another one shows up. Then you think you finished with one, another one shows up. All right. And I think that's very, very important for you to understand that. And this is something I've learned about potential. Listen, when we get to the next level of our lives, we will suddenly realize our dreams are different, our potential is different. Then we get to the next level, potential is different. So, guess what? In reality, you never arrive until the day you breathe your last. Your vision will be expanding and expanding and expanding. That is why I have told a lot of people who care to listen that I, okay, Liz, are you ready? Let's get back to Liz. How? All right, Liz, hello. Oops. All right. Well, let's hope Liz is able to get her network back, you know. But listen, I've discovered that it never ends. But that's why we need to have the mindset not of getting out of my comfort zone. I've struggled with embracing that philosophy that get out of your comfort zone for the simple reason that we work so hard, you know, to get into our comfort zone in the first place. We work so hard to get to a place of comfort. So why would I work so hard to get to a place of comfort and then now come out of my comfort zone? So I subscribe more to the philosophy of expand your comfort zone. So Liz expanded her comfort zone to include Ukrainian language. She expanded her comfort zone to include the Russian language. Every challenge that comes is an opportunity to expand your comfort zone. You know how it was in the olden days? You conquer and then you occupy. So every challenge that is thrown at you, every challenge that is thrown at you is an opportunity to conquer and expand your comfort zone. All right, let me go back to Liz. Liz, so you were telling us what now happened, out there when the government seemed it wasn't happening like you thought it would. Go ahead. We cannot hear you, Liz. Still okay. How about now? Speak again.
You can hear?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so um
Go ahead.
the government anything?
Oops. It has gone. Your camera has gone funny again, Liz. Uh, ladies and gentlemen, my email address, Oliver, I'm putting it here, Wale at thestreetuniversity.com. Liz, I think you are frozen. All right. Well, let me just continue as we wait for Liz to get back. So please, I want you to really give thought to this, that every attack that comes against you is an opportunity for you to conquer and expand your comfort zone. Because after every conquest, guys, you expand. And you know, the good thing is, once you have expanded your capacity through that, you never go back to where you were before. So I want you to begin to see challenges in that light, that the challenge is an opportunity for me to expand my comfort zone. And if there is one thing I have seen with Liz, it is that every challenge that came her way, she was conquering and expanding, conquering and expanding. All right. I think that's very, very important. Let's think of the challenges that have come your way that you backed out of. I remember, and listening to her is so inspiring for me, because I am looking at my life. I'm looking at the lives of a lot of people that I know. And as the challenges came, in fact, you now get to a point, you now look back at your life and you realize, oh my goodness, thank God. Wow. But that challenge was actually what grew me. Now, like I said the other day, you don't have to fail to succeed, but a challenge is not a failure. A challenge is an obstacle that is coming to test your resolve. That's what the challenge is. And I don't want you, a lot of people have surrendered their greatness because of the first challenges that came their way. I think that is so crucial that we understand. Liz, I see you are back. I see you are back. All right, a few minutes
Sorry,
we have. Just go ahead.
yeah, I encountered a problem with my gadget, so I had to change.
No
I'm
problem.
not
So
sure.
go ahead. We can hear you very well. So just quickly go ahead. Tell us about now what was happening when the money didn't come forth and what you now had to do to survive.
Yeah, so life was difficult, and giving up was almost the easiest option. But our parents, they really had to go beyond their means and send, $100 in Kenya is a lot for a parent to send you monthly. Yeah. But that's what maybe you needed to survive a month at least, if you manage your finances. So it wasn't really easy. I kept writing the ministry on behalf of all of us, and one day I stumbled upon an email address of a daily paper person, and I created an account, Scholarship Students Ukraine at Gmail, and sent an email and told them of our plight. And he told me, you know what, I'm very close to the government was it which guy, what person? Yeah, and yeah, he can help you. So just give me more details about the scholarship and how you people are managing now, what happened. So I told my colleagues that I've written someone and they want to help us out, and says you can access the office of the president and we can be helped. So we opened up everything. We shared how we went and how we've not received anything and how life is hard, and shared to the person. The next day morning, I receive a call from my dad, and I'm like, I've just read the newspaper. I've
Wow.
seen your story. I'm like, what story? And but the person didn't want really to help us. The person was looking for a story to publish. And the title was Struggling Kenyans in Ukraine. Actually, when you Google my name, that's one of the stories that will come up. And so that was so devastating, receiving now messages from friends, Facebook, and everyone is like sharing the story. Oh no, this is sad. And it was really sad. But now after that, the embassy now responded and sent someone to come and meet us, and maybe try to tell us, they'll see what will be done and all that. But the bottom line is nothing was done. But now we were there. It's 2 years down the line. You cannot really quit. If I say I come back to Kenya, I have to start from where I left. So it just had to manage. We were not allowed to work as students, part-time, especially scholarship students. But we were given a stipend. If you scored an average of 75 and above in every subject, you are entitled to $100 monthly stipend. So I had to work hard to get that. So to get that every semester, I really had to work hard. The language was not that easy, it being not my language. But I had to work hard. I had to study extra, more than my classmates were Ukrainian, by the way. But I had to study hard and perform even better than them in class. Yeah. And some lecturers were racist. One just came to class and asked a professor, how do you let a foreigner come to your country, learn your language, and beat you at your own language? I cannot allow that. This is someone who should be taking you to the zoo and showing you animals, and you're letting someone become the best in my class. And it now made my life difficult because I could not consult my classmates, because they knew if they explain something for me to understand better, maybe I'll beat them. And yeah, so it wasn't easy. But regardless of the challenges, the language, the racism from some of the lecturers, I was determined to complete. And when the story came out, the church we were attending, all of us went to one church. The pastor was shocked and said, you guys did not tell me this was happening. And from that day, the church used to buy us food monthly. They buy us food that will take us throughout the month. So we didn't really now need to spend money. So God made a way. Yeah. In as much as that story was bad, for our parents, especially at home. But it kind of opened a way for us, and the church came in, and we completed successfully without the government's support. But with the Ukrainian government support, because the tuition was well taken care of, and provided that you scored 75 and above, you are guaranteed of $100 every month. So that's what we survived on. And myself, I remember I tried one day, now during my last year, 5th year, it was that workload was not that much, so I could try part-time working. They were learning English, because now they were parting with Russia, and now they wanted to make English their second language. but most of them didn't know English. So most people were looking for English teachers. English schools were a lot in Kiev because I was at the capital. So I tried for teaching English. I remember being called for an interview. I attended the interview and I was told, wow, Elizabeth, we really love you, you qualify, you are good. They gave me, they really praised me. Then told me, unfortunately, we don't like your voice. So sorry, we are not taking you. I was shocked. I was heartbroken that my voice made me lose an opportunity. And I remember really crying that night and wondering, really, if now I cannot get this because of my voice, what can I do? I cannot change my voice. It's here to stay. So I was heartbroken. But after days of, crying and, saying, I wish my voice was louder than this, I wish I just wish I made a lot of wishes. I went and spoke to a mentor. I attended a leadership school and he was the leader. And I shared my experience of how I went there and they told me they didn't like my voice. And I'm thinking, so my voice will really keep me from a lot of opportunities. He told me, no, that that's what makes you. You are unique because of your voice. Your voice will take you places. God will use your voice to speak to someone. So never apologize for your voice, never be sorry. And it really got me. And I took it in. So a week later, I saw another advert looking for an English teacher, and I applied again. So I went to this school. I knew maybe they wouldn't take me because of my voice, but I said I'll go anyway. I went for the interview, and after the interview, I was told, wow, we really love your voice. We like you. In fact,
Wow.
when are you willing to start? Yeah, and I was surprised. You see, the same voice that got me rejected somewhere else is the same voice that someone liked here.
Hmm.
So that told me, in as much impossible is nothing, yes, but don't let rejection, make you now say that's final. No.
Wow. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this is impacting you like it's impacting me, because she said that giving up sometimes is an easier option. Sometimes, and that's true, sometimes giving up may be the easier option. Maybe you're at that point now where it looks like giving up is the easier option. Well, you've heard it today. You have heard this today. But most importantly, I think something that came out for me is this leadership. Did you notice that there was a crisis? She took the initiative. She wrote the article in the paper. I mean, the thing that eventually came out in the paper. She didn't intend it as an article, but she wrote. And guess what? Leadership comes out in tough times. I keep thinking some of the greatest leaders emerged during tough times. Winston Churchill, name it. Some of the greatest leaders that we talk about today as great leaders, they emerged during down times. So your challenges come to reveal your leadership. Your challenges come to reveal your leadership. And then, Liz's determination, I think, is something that deserves a Nobel Prize of some sort. Always on the move, on the move. Because have you noticed the number of times she has said tonight, I saw an advert. I saw an advert. And how many of us see those adverts and we don't pay attention to them? She was always on the lookout for opportunities. Remember, opportunities have no owners. But when you look for them, you will find them. All right. Now, Liz, we have our time has actually expired, but we have some time because of the times when the thing was disconnected. Tell us now how you got into writing, and how that opened up a whole new chapter for you.
Earlier, my English teacher used to praise my compositions, such that sometime when my mother was told that I write very good composition, she asked to read my composition. And after reading it, she asked me, "Where did you copy it from?" I told her I didn't copy it from anywhere. And she was surprised that I could write that. So from that, I knew maybe I could write well, but most of my communication was through writing. I remember there were times maybe when I felt my mom punished me for what I did not do. I didn't tell her that, "Mom, I didn't do." I used to write a note. I write a note and explain and say, "This is what happened, but you know what you say, I didn't say this or I didn't do this, you punished me, but it wasn't my mistake." Then I would pass it at the door of her bedroom. So, so maybe when she woke up, met a note and read, and now tell me, "Oh, sorry, I didn't know." And I did the same too with my dad. And yeah, whenever I didn't like something, or maybe I was going through a difficult time, I'll write him a note and just pass it through the bedroom door and wait for them to tell me they saw the note. So that's how I knew I loved writing. Yeah. I remember one day I took an exercise book and I wrote, "What is life?" I can't remember how I defined life, but when my mom got that book, she asked me, "You mean you want to write a book about me?" I said, "No." I was just writing. So that desire to write never ended. I could express myself better in written than in speech. And then being an adolescent and being soft spoken, sometimes, people laugh at your voice. I'm actually louder now than I was when I was a teenager. So it kind of affected my esteem, but still, I thought maybe instead of talking, I could write. And even as I grew up, in as much as I accepted my voice, I said, "Okay, I accepted that maybe I'm not audible enough, but where my voice cannot reach, my words can reach, because everyone can read. You can read what I want to say, instead of me having to beg your pardon every now and then." So that motivates me to keep writing. And, with writing, I can really put everything in my mind down on paper. Yeah, I remember when I wanted to publish my first book, the editor I was working with just all of a sudden told me, "I cannot work with you and I owe you no explanation." So I was surprised. I didn't know how to respond. I didn't know how to take it. I was broken. I let the book stay for almost 2 years. Then I said, "No, impossible is nothing. I can still write a book." Because I started guessing, could this editor have found something that's not worth sharing with the world, that's not worth publishing? I started doubting the work, but I said, "No, this is my story. I've gone through this. I've succeeded. Someone needs to know out there that they can also succeed." Yeah, I needed to encourage someone. So I told myself, now that I don't have an editor, and I know I definitely getting a publisher would be a problem, and I didn't have the means, why not reduce this book to what I can manage on my own? So I decided to reduce the whole thing and just picked up the stories, yeah, like just roughly summarized every chapter and took it to someone and asked them, "Please, can you print this for me? Can you do a cover for me?" It wasn't really a nice cover. I remember after printing and doing the cover, I shared it with a friend. For me, it was out of excitement because despite the fact that the editor let me down, I'm publishing, I'm going to print a book. And this friend told me, "Oh, don't even try. Don't try this cover. If we were in the 90s, we would have gone with this, but now it's a no. Don't do it." I felt it. It really hit me hard. When he said if it were in the 90s, would have accepted it, but now we cannot accept such kind of printout. I told myself it's not about the cover. It's about the message in my book, and this is my story. So I'm printing it anyway. I printed it and shared it, and people, the people who have read it tell me, "Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Your story is really inspiring." So what I learned from that, impossible is nothing. Everyone has
Wow.
a story to tell, and no one can tell your story better than you. And it doesn't matter how you tell your story, it's your own story, because it's you who have lived it. So no one should discourage you. If I would have listened to that comment that my cover would only survive in the 90s and not in the 20s, I would have stopped printing the book. But I went ahead and printed it. So it's
So
about
let me
knowing.
ask,
Mm,
where can we get your book? If you want to get your book now, where can we get your book? How do we get your books?
Yeah, you can send me an email.
Okay, what's your email address, please? Everybody, you know what we do. We need to do this.
Ekakoro, small caps as is on the Ekakoro
Ekakoro.
possible.
Uh-huh.
Possible. Possible. Possible.
Ekakoro possible.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
At gmail.com.
Even your email address is a possibility one. Ekakoro possible at
At
gmail.com. Is that it?
yes.
Okay, so guys, that is it. Ekakoro possible at gmail.com. All right, so we're going to reach out to her concerning how we get the book. Impossible is nothing. Listen, I want to show you guys something. You all know that I'm an author. I've written 18 books. Now, you see this book, some of you have it. Why do some dream of success while others wake up to achieve it? But there is something I have kept for posterity's sake. The very first time the printer delivered this book to me, this is what it looked like. It was the most horrible thing you have ever seen. But you know what? I kept it. That now, from this beginning, we have this, we have this, we have this, we have the billionaire within, we have Iwale 2, we have Drive. From that small beginning, living on the edge, from that small beginning, that it looked like no. Then we have, of course, Beyond Intelligence. So, guys, you've heard it tonight. She said it. It's your story. Nobody can say it like you. Impossible is nothing. Liz, what's your parting shot? This has been such an inspiring session. What's your parting shot?
My parting shot this evening would be know what you want and go for it, regardless of the circumstances. Don't believe anyone who tells you it's impossible. They say so probably because they have not tried out. Yeah. So if you can imagine it in your mind, you can create it.
Woo.
It's possible. It's possible to soar beyond the impossible. So impossible is nothing in everything.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you. I have been thoroughly inspired. Impossible is nothing. Thank you so much, Liz, for being here. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Besides us getting her book, starting from tomorrow on the Street University Facebook page, Liz is going to be writing some articles. So you are going to have her articles every day from tomorrow, I think till Saturday or so. She's going to be her articles are going to be there. Do me a favor. When you read her articles, let her know you've read the articles. Comment, all right? Comment on them. And just that's very, very important. So thank you so very much, Liz. We are honored to have you here. Thank you. You have truly made a difference. All right?
Thank you, Dr. Wale.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. I believe some, value has been added to you. Impossible is nothing. Whenever you think of, oh, how is this going to happen? Just remember this phenomenal story we have heard tonight. Impossible is nothing. Elijah, don't worry, you can still watch it. It's going to be it's going to be here, so you can actually start watching it now from the beginning if you just came in. But guys, at 9 o'clock, Wale Akemi resource page, I'm going to show you another dimension of imagination. And I'm going to show you today, like we have started, that one of the things that has been bashed by people, I remember when I was growing up, when I'm out there just daydreaming, my mom would hit my head and say, come on, stop daydreaming, go and read your books. But one of the things I have learned about life today is that reimagine yourself. Elijah, sorry, let me, my email address is there. I will send you the brochure. Did you send me an email last time, Elijah? Wale at thestreetuniversity.com. That's my email address. Wale at thestreetuniversity.com. All right. So please send me an email right now, Elijah, and I will respond to you. Okay. Right now. Now, guys, so one of the things I learned is that the quality, the dreams that we dream with our eyes open, the dreams we dream that people call daydreaming, they are more important than the dreams we dream when we're sleeping. Oh, is somebody hearing me today? The dreams you dream with your eyes open are more important than the dreams you dream when you are asleep. Daydreamers rule the world because everything that you see was once a dream in the mind of something. And as we have learned today from Liz, guess what? Impossible is nothing. So I look forward to seeing you all at 9 o'clock. We're going to tear open the whole issue of the mind and imagination. I'm going to show you imagination from God's perspective and how everybody who has ever achieved anything, even in the Bible, it was a function of imagination. What is imagination? Pictures or images of the mind. Look forward to that. See you at 9 o'clock. Remember, keep winning. Thank you. Elijah, I'm waiting for your email right now. All right? Cool.